It's Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg, and it's a special, special day. We are celebrating 30 years of Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 chambers. Obviously, Ebro wanted to be here. He's recovering from the knee situation. But the Abbott, Bobby Digital, Prince Rakeem, RZA, the Resurrector is in the building to celebrate.
Bong bong.
Thank you for honoring us to be here on this glorious holy day. Literally, RZA, you could argue, and I would in my nerdy opinion, this is the greatest day in the history of the whole thing. Between Midnight Maruders and Enter the Wu-Tang
on the same day. No, this is definitely one of those days that you got to stamp as a pillar day in hip hop. Because what happens on this day is another layer of hip hop will be exposed and upheld and built upon. You know what I mean? Built upon it. Before this, a lot of things wasn't allowed in. It wasn't commercially viable. You know what I mean?
Did you guys know going into that November 9th, like, first of all, did you know Tribe was dropping the same day?
Yeah, I wanted to know.
No, we didn't know that. I mean, now, to be honest, we didn't know that the date was going to be the date, right? You know what I mean? But
it was moving around, I'm sure.
Yeah, we knew that the album, was dropping, so we didn't have we may have had the exact date. I remember Steve Rifkin, like, on my back because of the date. You know what I mean? Because, I probably didn't finish the album until 1 minute before the deadline, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or 1 minute after the deadline type of thing. I was known for that. But the idea that, Tribe was dropping that day, then we get Snoop, like, the same month.
The month.
Same month.
Snoop in the same month as well. Yeah. It was one of those months. November 1993.
Laura, we're so blessed because of the ages that we are.
I
like,
know.
At 14 years old, when you're really starting to discover.
Right.
That's to me when music discovery is at its best. I went to the store. This is when I first started going to Nobody Beats the Wiz to buy, because we had in DC, we had the Wiz existed there. We go to the store and buy it. And I didn't know, when I bought the Wu-Tang album, I remember the first thing I ever got was the Protect Your Neck single. But I got that Protect Your Neck single after it was already on Loud. Right. I didn't get the Wu-Tang Records one. Right. I knew it after you guys had already gotten serviced by a major. But, like, did anyone in the building suspect, including Steve, including you, including your brother, that this was going to be an iconic album? Like, did you really view it that way? Or, like, we're putting songs together, we've all been working, here's a body of our work?
No. Look, they say, history is, hindsight is 20/20, right? But when you talk about, of course, maybe Steve Rifkin didn't understand exactly what he had. My brother, knew what we had, Divine, because he was, he grew up watching us do all of this, right? But the persons who supremely knew, I would say me and Old Dirty almost would have guaranteed. Like if you were to say, yo, can you guarantee that this is going to work? It was like, yeah, we could guarantee it. Would you put your right hand up, and if it don't work, we chop your right hand off? Yeah. That's how confident we was.
Why did you know? What informed? Was it your experience being Prince Rakeem and what happened musically with you prior? What was it that informed you that this is going to work? Because you'd already been through, you and GZA had both been through situations that didn't fully work.
It didn't work, yeah.
I mean, they had, I don't want to rewrite history. There was some success, but it didn't work the way you planned. In 93, hip-hop is different now, just in those few years since you first came out. Mm-hmm. What let you know, like, this aesthetic here? Because even though there was that hardcore sound at that time, y'all's hardcore sound was different than the other hardcore sound.
But that's why I knew it was going to work. It was like, I knew it was a missing ingredient. You know what I mean? Just to put some context, and I try to hold all that ego back. You know what I mean? But as some context is, when you think about hip-hop, right? When I learned hip-hop, when the GZA learned hip-hop, the GZA taught me. So let's start with that. So the RZA is probably the first master of hip hop of the second generation. Okay? So hip hop starts with our forefathers, Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, Kool Mo D, Spoonie G, Curtis Blow, Cold Crush Brothers.
Are you going all the way to Run DMC or no? Stop it before that.
Run DMC are second generation.
Okay, the beginning of second generation.
Right.
Same with Rakim and Kane, etc.
Right, and the RZA is that. Okay, and he's getting it. He learned it in the Bronx from the Foundation, right? And so when they're doing it in the parks, we're the kids in the parks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when the other artists who did break through with great hip hop abilities, KRS-One that you said, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, right? It still was a group of them that didn't break through, and that was us. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? And so to me, I felt like everybody had, creatively exposed and done what they're gonna do. But this borough, this sound, this vibe, this team had not.
So really, you guys should have timeline-wise come through with those guys before you, but they cut through and y'all didn't.
Yeah, you can say that.
So now you got to sort of gain knowledge and did the work, sitting back to be like, how do we break through?
Yeah, you could say that. We should have been through with that group of brothers because they're, you look at.
Ooh, We Love You, Rakim's what, 89?
89, yeah.
So that's
90. Right? Recorded in 89, comes out in 90.
So it would have been like Kane's second album, Eric and Rakim's second, third album, but still right there in there.
And maybe a couple of years younger or a couple of same age as some of them. But point being made is, so now you got this collection, and it just felt like, as a hip-hop lover, not only as a creator, but as a lover, it's like, yo, this makes me feel how that made me feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the difference about it, too, at that time, it was unapologetically it. It wasn't like trying to be what else was there. It was like, this is what it is. You know what I mean? That's how hip-hop started. Hip-hop started with, that's what it is.
Yeah, thriving on individuality, of course. I want you to talk about, I feel like for the generation right now, when you see Old Dirty's kids like rap his lyrics, but let's go back to young Old Dirty, like the spark that you saw in him, how you as a producer were like, yo, I see how I can shape this into him being a complete star. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, he was born to be a star in all reality. Even if he would have just danced, like he always had this magnetic attraction. You know what I mean?
From when you guys were little.
Yeah, we was little. Like we go to the family party. He got two girls on him. He's dancing in the middle of the party. Okay, you throw on the song, he's singing the song out loud, and you sitting there watching. He was never shy. Right. I was actually shy. He was never shy. You know what I mean? But the thing about him, it was when it came to the hip hop. You hear one of his old interviews. He said, Rakim used to beat me up and make me write rhymes. Yeah, I forced it on him, like, because hip hop was such a love for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when he got it, because he's such a natural talent, he just took it and was able to just make it exciting. Like he was like, one of his lyrics, niggas want to get up and rap and rap and rap and rap and rap. Man, fuck that.
Right.
Shit that I make is the hit. like it's a show. You got no time for all of that other things that everybody is thinking. He knew that his karma, his energy, his aura, his energy was just dominant. As Ray said it before, I think we could quote him. He's like, Dirty can be considered the soul of the group. You know what I mean?
That's a great way of putting
it.
Hey, Shawnee, is the Bluetooth in queue? Can we hear Bluetooth if I hit this? Like, tell us a little bit about this. Let's just start right at the beginning as we celebrate 36 Chambers with the RZA.
What?
What was the plan on that record? Was there any conversation, or is you playing that beat and Dirty's just taking it that direction, and it ends up being called Shame on Her just because that's where he goes?
Right.
Or was that the plan?
No. That's where he went. Like, that's one of those joints where Dirty comes to the studio late, right? I'm kind of in there, waiting for him. He comes in, a little bit of debate about being late, you know what I mean? And then he goes
spirited conversation.
Yeah. Then he goes in the booth and spits this song in one take.
Wow.
Okay? And that's why, you know, even like same on the top, he just kept going. You know what I mean? The mistakes, everything. He just kept going. And I said, yo, all right, now kick it again. He said, nah, it's like for God. That's it. They're gonna love it.
No, it's like for God.
They're gonna love it. And he was right. You know what I mean? I thought he should kick, you know, producers. All right, now do it, you know. But he knew that the capturing of the raw moment, right, is the best form of music. You know what I mean? And I could say we all had that in us in a way, but as you start doing it more, you start questioning it. He never questioned. He never.
It's always the rawest essence of it.
Yeah,
But it also says a lot about you that you trusted. You were like, no. You know, because I could see you be like, no, we got to do that again. We got to perfect it. We got to make it a certain way. But you were like, you saw the beauty in it. And you're like, this is it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like I said, I definitely asked him to do it again. But when he didn't, I was like, all right, now I got to do as a producer and sounds and drop the beat and do all
the
that.
things to make it work.
Yeah, you know
I love just to completely nerd out on this subject. I love the balance, the intersection of Old Dirty on Shame on Her versus Method Man, who comes in so precise.
Right.
Yo, RZA, yo, RZA, hit me with the everything. So it's just the contrast of their styles is so different.
And then Ray comes in, which you don't even expect, and he comes in short.
Yeah,
he comes in quick, 8 bars, then go, and then Dirty does that second verse and goes bananas. Because on that second verse, for me, it's like anybody who thought ODB don't got bars or ODB ain't gonna bust you, you know, lyrically bust you or knock you out, let's call it. Nah, he did it. I come with that old loco style.
Let's
people with a bear. I'm no joker. Play me as a joker. Be on here like a house on fire. Smoke ya. Dudes be acting like they gangs anyway. Be like warriors. Come out and play it. Burn me. Got burned once, but that was only gonorrhea.
Later he says he got burned twice.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Shawnee.
Go ahead, Shawnee.
So I've been watching the Wu-Tang Saga show. Congratulations with my son.
Thank you.
Just introducing him to what this whole Wu-Tang is, and he loves the show.
Thank you.
But there's a scene specifically with you and ODB where you signed him to, he wanted to be signed to Def Jam. And y'all got into a physical confrontation. How real is that? Did he actually punch you and try to beat you down, or?
Yeah, look, I mean, good question, right?
Because that was a big moment in the show.
No. We definitely got into a physical. You know what I mean?
Over the Def Jam.
The Def Jam in the train station, right? The difference. Look, I'm gonna leave it for the show. Because ODB was he's my older cousin, but yet my student. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the way it went is the way that it's supposed to win. The way that I designed it to go. He was definitely super upset. If I could share with you this, okay?
Please.
Forget the physical part. You know what I mean?
That's right. Y'all are cousins. Like those things.
Yeah.
Right.
But everyone, including him, agreed that I'm the Abbot and I'm driving this bus to the destination. Nobody can say nothing for 5 years. My decision is the decision, dictatorship.
And everyone agreed on
Everybody agreed on that. You can't go back on that. When we have agreed. And so, even though he disagreed at that time, he had to agree because we already agreed. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know
This is the plan.
Yeah, this is it.
So why did you feel so strongly about Elektra for Dirty?
Because first of all, if you look at Elektra, at the time, they was doing okay success. They didn't have a gold artist in hip-hop yet. You know what I mean?
They didn't have, Busta hadn't gone solo gold yet.
Yeah, there's no gold artist yet. You know what I mean? They got some good MCs and and Dante Ross, the great A&R.
Right.
But it hasn't been the gold success that they needed to get to. So my thing was every label should get a Wu vibe to help elevate the label, the culture, the money, everything. Cause I was like, this is everybody gonna pop. You know what I mean?
And there's power in having it distributed across multiple labels.
And
Meth
labels.
already was at Def Jam.
Meth was at Def Jam. We already talked with Steve about he wanted to keep Ray. You know, he wanted Ray and Jizza. But Geffen came too strong. You know what I mean? Which we was like, nah, we're gonna go with Geffen.
Who came with the biggest solo deal overall?
I think Geffen at the time, because Geffen just came, and no, those numbers is different, but Geffen just came with $500,000 for Jizza, you know what I mean? And at that time, you heard that Showbiz and AG had got $250,000. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Yo, Showbiz and AG's got $250,000. We like, yo, $250,000? Like, dude, that sound like lot of bricks, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so Jizza signed for a half. That's why it goes like Jizza signed for a half, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah, so he caught the half of him. So he caught the biggest solo deal at the time.
And then even you with Gravediggers went to G Street.
Yeah.
Like everyone literally went someplace else.
Yep. And everything went gold and platinum. So the industry so the industry is getting another boost of talent, right? That also now there's other MCs. Like even with the Gravediggers, now you had like 50 groups that was maybe somewhere in New York City. Now they coming out making their demos, you know what I mean, on the same vibe, you know what I mean? With Method Man, you know, you get other artists who want to kind of rap and throw some melodic voice into it. Everything is getting a chance to realize that you can go ahead and expose yourself versus the cookie cut that was starting to be part of our industry. You know what I mean? Like you could buy an album back in those days and everybody had a reggae song on it, or everybody got an R&B song, and like it was always. But our R&B song with All I Need was filthy, dirty, even though it had the sample of that.
Raw.
Yeah, it's like, nah, we don't want to, we're not watering it down, you know what I mean? So anyway.
When people say, well, let me say this, is Enter the Wu-Tang, of all these albums, which all mean something to you as you exec produced so many of them, is Enter the Wu-Tang the greatest Wu-Tang album of all time?
I'll just leave that to the people. I don't know, but I would say it's definitely the most blessed one because it's the one that got us in and blessed us, and we're celebrating 30 years of it. And if nobody, you know, I did an interview with a young lady who wasn't even born when it came out, and she said it was her introduction to hip hop. So how did she find it? I don't know, but it seems to be almost like a rite of passage for a lot of people. So it's our most blessed album, and it means the most to us because it's our foundation. But the album, and I just say this out loud, but the album that makes me feel like that cements us is Wu-Tang Forever because we're making a bona fide statement. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you entered us. We went through some albums, some solos, and now we're telling you, nah, Wu-Tang Forever.
Do you feel an extra level of pride at this point that Wu-Tang Forever, you guys dropped a double album, which was mad expensive at the time, relative. Like when those double albums drop, they cost you nearly $20.
Yeah.
And you have to go to the store. For the young people listening, this is a real life.
Yes.
You go to the store, you fork over $20, and you guys went platinum, multi-platinum eventually with Wu-Tang Forever. Now do you look back at that and just want to go, wow? Because like, bro, these days, the numbers we see people do, they're all completely hard to read because it's all streams. It doesn't require the investment. Are you proud of that level to which people were wanting to support Wu-Tang, that they're forking over that kind of money and in the way that they did it, how quickly they did it?
No, definitely proud of it. Definitely a blessing when you think about somebody who has to wait in line, right? So has the patience to wait in line, to dig in their pocket and hand out money. It's different than pressing a button.
Absolutely.
It's a whole different experience.
I remember, so Workman's Outlet in Los Angeles in the 90s, it was just like a hip-hop hub. You know, anybody who grew up in Los Angeles knows. But I just remember, not only was there a line, and it was a party because everyone's waiting, albums blasting, the anticipation of not only buying the album, praying that they don't run out. That's another thing.
Right.
Because you're there waiting, you pray that they don't run out of these physical copies.
And don't forget also another thing that was a banger in the DC area at least, and I'm sure they probably at the one in LA and in New York too. the Monday Midnight Tower Records release.
Oh yeah, get it early, right?
That Monday Midnight.
Yeah, you know what's crazy when you think about it in hindsight? So, you know, it's a double album. Like you said, it's costing $20, right? $25, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be, and the record label presses them up and ships 2 million copies on day one. If you run that number, just say you run your 20 or 25 by 2 million, you're talking about $50 million. That's movie numbers. You know what I mean?
Movie numbers.
That's movie numbers. You know what I'm saying? Back when numbers were hard. So, you know, I didn't think about it then, but you look back in the hindsight, because even if you could drop a movie that cost you $4-5 million to make, and you hit
10 times.
Yeah, you know what kind of business you in. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's really remarkable when you think about that.
When you think about it, yeah.
Was it hard? We just played this Shame on a radio mix, which I always thought was hilarious when it came out, and it was the video version. Was it hard to get Dirty to come back and redo stuff like that when you're like, bro, we got to do a radio? It's a single now. Like he had to be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, no, you know what? One thing about Old Dirty Bastard, he was actually very professional at the time that it was mandatory. Like, you know what I mean?
When it was needed.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He was, and he you go back and look at his first album and look at the way he did it, look at his promotion. Like, you know, he's going to show up. You know what I mean? He's going to show up for his photos. If you think about his second album, I can say the way.
You can. Yeah, I'm not going to say the name of the album.
Yeah. No, you can't say that.
Please.
Yeah, please. Nigga, please. Right? That's the name of the album, right? And he has on the Rick James wig and ladies, disposables, right? Sanitary napkins and shit.
There you go.
I'm like, yeah. He's that brave of an artist, right? To do that. The only other artist that I think was doing stuff like that when we was kids was maybe Wild Man Steve or Blowfly, right? And people don't, realize that his Old Dirty Bastard's first album can be considered the first hip-hop comedy album, okay? And then when you go back to his second album, same thing. Chris Rock is basically 3 or 4 tracks on the album.
Narrating almost.
Yeah, narrating in a comedic way. So it's very interesting that he approached it that way, even though he was such a serious man. You know what I mean? But he actually approached it with an artistry of freedom, and he wasn't shy to actually make you laugh.
Yeah.
The part that always blew my mind about the second album, or the first album, was the first words we heard from it was Brooklyn Zoo.
Right.
And like you guys had already sort of cultivated this style, of course. This Wu-Tang style was everywhere. And it was bending our ears in ways we hadn't quite heard hip-hop before. But Brooklyn Zoo, True Master did it, right?
Yeah, True Master, Dirty. So Dirty and True Master composed the track together. And I had to come in and just make sense of it, but they composed.
So you
the track.
still are in on that? The whole thing.
Yeah, of course,
you executive produced the album. So you're still. So they'll come to you with a concept, and say, "Here's what we've done so far."
Yeah. So I didn't I don't executive produce. I'm the producer.
Right. It's not an executive producer in the way that executive producer is often tossed around.
Yeah.
Where you oversee.
Yeah.
You're putting hands on everything that happens.
Yeah.
So they give you. So what happens in the case of like a Brooklyn Zoo, where you are not the first producer listed?
Yeah. So in Brooklyn Zoo, Dirty and True Master are hanging in the studio. They make a track, right? They tell me, yo, we got a banger, right? Because I bought Dirty an ASR.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he actually he comes with the drum version of it. True Master came with the chord
Piano?
chops,
Yeah.
right? And then they play it and it sounds dope. And Dirty bust some lyrics, and I was just like, yo, okay, sounds nice, yo. All you need is like a string in it. So I add the string to it, so it goes like
Yeah. Hold on, let's give it a look.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact the song literally starts the thing saying shit, word, I'll bust that ass right now.
you could never fuck me, my nigga.
So that's True Master with the court movements, right?
Fuck bust your motherfucking ass, boy. I ain't no motherfucking
It's a fantastic job.
Old dirty bastard.
Who's that? Who's the lady? Who's the lady yelling in the background?
No, I don't know who that is.
Fuck him. I'm the one man army ain't showing. I never been tooken out.
Dirty chose the beat to go this way. It's a different place when the drums drop than normal.
Yeah.
In the G building, taking all sorts of medicines.
No. All I am is that one string though you keep hearing.
While I be coming with deeper and more shit. Enough to make you break and shake your asses. I create rhyme good as
Right, that's it. That's it. Just to make it like turn off the other sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
But you guys,
need aspirin.
you weren't concerned though. You guys are so hot off Enter the Wu-Tang, and here come the solo albums, and the most anticipated at the time, I think, even though obviously we know what happened with the Purple Tape when it was all said and done, but at the time was probably people were anticipating Tikal and Return to the 36 Chambers, because Old Dirty and Meth were so pronounced that time as stars. This is an insane choice as a first single for a guy that you
not to us.
But in retrospect, you have a guy who you said you're like Elektra doesn't have a gold and platinum artist yet. We could have that with Old Dirty.
Right.
What's the first single? It's just gonna be him going off for 3.5 minutes,
right,
and then yell Brooklyn Zoo at the end.
Yeah.
Like how did you know that would
you were
connect?
right.
And you were right. And it's a straight classic.
Yeah, it was like it's hip hop. If it ain't, see, that's the thing that we can say, right? If it ain't nothing, it's hip hop.
Facts.
If it ain't nothing, it's hip hop, and that was our argument at the time. You know what I mean? So all of our great hip hop creators, sometimes you could actually say that some of their songs was jazz, some of their songs was pop, some of their songs was R&B, some of their songs was, but for what we was doing at that time, it was no other definition for it but hip hop. You know what I mean?
Did you have an argument about Brooklyn Zoo? Was there a back and forth about it?
Nah.
Everyone agreed.
Everybody. Listen, we was before the world heard it, that thing played in our vans and our cars and our MPVs.
Everyone messed with it.
Everybody
But y'all had to know you were sitting on Shimmy Shimmy Ya. Or did you not have it yet?
No, we had Shimmy. Shimmy was, so we always thought like this. And I think, if you think about hip hop, I think this is true in the early days of hip hop. Like the B-side is always like when Biz and Heavy D did that, or Kane and Bismarck rhyming.
Just rhyme with Biz, yeah.
Right? It's the B-sides that we was flipping on, right? And so it's like, let's make the B-side the A-side. You know what I mean?
That's Brooklyn Zoo, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, of course, we knew Shimmy would be what it's going to be. Shimmy was a top 40, right? Dirty.
Crazy.
You know what's crazy about ODB? Dirty has the most top 40 songs out of Wu-Tang.
Oh, yeah, of course, because then you got Your Money later, too.
Got Your Money, Ghetto Superstar.
Ghetto Superstar.
Fantasy.
God, yeah.
He's the top 40 guy out of the crew.
Yo, you know what makes me happy every time? I wonder if you've had this experience. I'm sure you have. Whether I'm DJing or whether I'm just at an event, it's amazing to see how everyone to this day, people who are 25 years old, 30 years old, will sing along to Dirty's part on Fantasy.
Of course.
When that Mariah, you could only play the remix with Dirty.
Right.
And his part is the part. It's just so crazy because you know that he did it so loosely,
right?
And it's lived on for 30-some, almost 30 years.
Wow. Mariah.
Go back like babies and pacifier. Every part. Mariah.
Kicking Fantasy,
hot like fire. They'll keep going the whole verse.
Right.
Now, speaking of B-sides, by the way, RZA, and we're celebrating 36 Chambers 30 years. And by the way, if you're in New York and you're hearing this, tonight you can catch RZA along with an orchestra performing Enter the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Also, there's a movie that's premiered now and is moving around. We don't know when we'll all be able to see the doc.
You can see the trailer, though.
But you can see the trailer.
Yeah, you can see a trailer.
About what you did with Enter the Wu-Tang performance-wise at Red Rocks out in Denver, right?
Yeah, so the film is called A Wu-Tang Experience. We're going to premiere it at Lincoln Center on ODB's birthday.
Johnny, what's ODB's birthday?
He's a Scorpio.
Nice. 15th. He's good. He's good.
He's good.
He's
I
good.
knew you know.
He's good. Yeah, November.
So that's the premiere at Lincoln Center.
Yeah, premiere.
So there's a
November
lot of
15th.
celebrations
Love it.
right now going on.
Yeah, you know the biggest, not the biggest, proudest thing, but super, super, super cool for us, Rosenberg, is they're gonna light up the Empire State Building, November 9th, into the Wu-Tang colors.
Wow.
And that, I started off as a street messenger. You know what I mean? Taking packages and go through that door. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And Jizza was a bike messenger. So think about that. Delivering packages to this building. The building. So many times you just looked at it from wherever you was at in the city, and it's just an honor. The mayor and the city are going to light that up, black and gold.
Black and gold, huh?
Yeah, but black and yellow, as they say. You know what I mean?
That's fire.
Yo.
That's a bong right there.
That's a big bon. So while we're celebrating this, I got to ask you about, you brought up B-sides. Don't know if there's ever been a bigger B-side. This right here.
Come on, fam.
Yeah.
Why the song Method Man? Why did Method Man get his own song on the album? And again, did you have a hunch that this one would go off?
Yeah. We we'll let it play. I don't talk about his
All right, let's let it play for a minute, and then we'll talk more with RZA about Method Man.
You guard, Ghostface killer, and the
man,
method.
M-E-T-H-O-D, man, M-E-T-H-O-D, man, M-E-T-H-O-D, man, M-E-T-H-O-D, man. Hey, you, get off my cloud. You don't
Actually, if you
know
think
me,
about
you
Brooklyn
don't
Zoo,
know my style. Who be getting down when they
he's actually using the same chord pattern. Listen.
Oh,
He just got his going slow.
Yeah.
Too bad I caught you.
Even though it's this hardcore beat and a hardcore record, he's actually doing a lot of pop culture references.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
thing is pop. It's kind of Das Effects like in that
Right.
way, right? Like They Want Effects,
Yeah,
mentioning
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
different things that are
Right,
happening.
right.
So yeah, take us through making that record and what the process was.
Well, the craziest thing is that Method Man is potentially one of the, I think, I wouldn't say the oldest lyric on the album, but he might have wrote that when he was 16, 17.
Wow, that had been in the stash, the rhyme at least.
Yeah, and we had a demo,
Wow.
like that was already a neighborhood hit. So we took it to a studio and did it over, and made it for the album. But
So is that why it ended up being the B-side of Protect Your Neck? Like it's something you already had, let's just throw it on the B-side?
yeah, not just throw it. It was like we loved it. So the thing is about us, like we're going off of what we love, right? So we all knew that song by heart. We all loved it, And Method Man was Shaquan until he made that song. You know what I mean? Then it's Shaquan, the Panty Raider. Then after he made that song, everybody in the hood called him Method Man. You know what I mean?
He literally was going just by Shaquan before he made the record.
Yeah. So
the Method Man was almost like a nickname that he was saying, like he was.
Yeah. And
But then it became the name that he.
name.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I never
knew
You realize
that.
that, Shauna? I didn't realize
So
that.
Method Man was just the chorus. It wasn't his name.
Or the concept.
It was the
just-
concept because
Like alter ego.
Meth is
Right,
weed,
right.
Right, because meth is weed.
Yeah.
He's the king of smoking weed, so he's the Method Man.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
But as the song is playing through the hood and everybody is loving it and singing it, after a year later, he's Method Man. And then by the time we get to now, we're making the Wu-Tang albums. You know what I mean? Because we already the Wu-Tang
Yeah.
clan already before the world knows that. You know what I mean? But by the time we get to now, we recording this album. And we record the song. He's Method Man now, but prior to that song, he wasn't Method Man.
But he decided to switch it, or you
Or
guys
just
were
the streets
like,
decided.
the streets.
Yeah.
No, it was a conscious decision of us as a crew. Like, yo, that's like,
That's you
but
right there.
yeah, but the streets did,
Push it.
yeah, push it.
But that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
so much sense now that I think about it. Because, see, RZA, this is something that to you is so built in that it's a nothing burger, whereas to us, it makes so much sense. Because it was always a little weird that there's one song on the album named after a member. We thought named after the member of the
Yeah,
album.
yeah.
But that's not what it was.
No,
It
no.
was the name of a song
Yes.
that then became the
That's
name
what I'm
of
saying.
a member.
That's
right,
the crazy.
but Right. Hold on, but but by the time you get it, that is his name.
Right, but still,
right.
but not when it was created.
Right, no.
And the song,
That's crazy.
and when the song was created, you always knew the song was called Method Man, obviously, because it goes METHOD.
Yeah, that's the name of the song.
But it was by Shaquan, the Panty Raider.
Exactly.
Yo, that's good. And he says what exactly is
It's
a panty raider mad times in the song.
Yeah, because he's the
Because
panty
that
raider.
was his name.
The answer is him. He's the Panty Raider.
And then you throw the intro on after.
Right.
was
So
it
the- so-
and
Right,
You
so
just
the-
blew our minds.
Right, so,
Let's
so
do
the
it.
intro, so the intro. Now we're making it a song for the album, and of course we're gonna give him this song. And the beautiful thing about Wu is the brotherhood is so tight that of course I definitely said the idea of like, yo, we're gonna make Method Man the next single, right? Put it on the B-side, but it's gonna be the next video, and everybody was like, yeah. Like everybody like supported the idea that we're gonna put the light on the God. All right.
Again, a great
So
decision,
dope. You know what I
and
mean?
that's everyone signing up for the. I use you guys as the example every single time. Like when Migos first came up to the station, I'm like, Quavo, you're Method Man. You know what I mean? Like they made a decision.
Right.
Let's see what happens with Quavo, because obviously
Right.
people are taking to him, and you guys understood.
Yep.
Ladies like this guy. He's got bars. There are all these pieces
All the
here,
energy, yep.
and all it did was work for all of you because people weren't selfish.
Exactly.
They allowed it to be.
And then but now to glue it though. Now how do you glue it? Okay, let's go back to the studio, record it over. Jizza, you do the intro, right? So from the slums of Shaolin. That's the Jizza saying all
Right,
that, right? And then on the second verse, I say one line, Ghost say one line. You enter the 36 chamber, your soul's been taken. Right? So now you have the energy of us is
Of
there.
the group around it.
Right.
Yes.
And the whole group is already named and list. Like you got this one. So you know how the old Kung Fu flicks used to come on? And it'd be like the 10 Tigers and shit. So it was also Kung Fu movie inspired. Like this one. And then like I think the movie was called Chinese Super Ninja. Right? And there's this one scene, I'm just take the scene, I get hyped when I talk
please,
about
of
this.
course.
So they fighting, right? So now it's like one side loses, right? And they kind of arrogant. Then it's like, who else want to fight? And then the camera goes through and show you all of these ill-looking faces. And then the kid who plays the Toad in the 5 Deadly Venoms, he stepped into the frame like, I'll take him. And then he goes in and whips his dude ass. I mean,
Yes.
And so that's like how Method Man was. You know what I mean? Like, here go all that, but you know what? You got the RZA, the Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Inspector That Raekwon, the Chef, you got Ghostface Killer, and
Method Man.
And he goes and rips it.
I just saw Robert De Niro. You know that movie where Robert De Niro spits it in the movie?
Right.
You ever seen that? They're sitting around the thing, and Robert De Niro's like, the RZA, the Jizza, like it's a thing literally everybody knows. Did you know that part? Like, this is a good way to teach everybody the names?
No, it wasn't. No, I would say it wasn't about teaching them the names. It was really about just showing, it was that, like I described to you, like, I didn't know that it's going to be like, yo, this is going to be the way I remember these dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which, by the way, had some downside. Later, I'm sure Capadonna and Master Killer were like, well, can we come up with a new version of this? And then it became a thing you guys do at so many shows, too. The RZA, the Jizza.
Right.
It was always, I've heard different versions of it different times.
Yeah. And we actually name everybody now. Master Killer, Capadonna.
Right. Now everyone's in.
Mathematics.
Shouts to mathematics. So I had this thought the other day. I'm curious for your thoughts or anybody else's thoughts on this. I believe, the way history gets written, the winners always write history, right? And the biggest names always shine in a different kind of way. So the names get thrown around for who's the greatest MC ever, blah, blah, blah. I believe that you can have a reasonable argument where you should not be sort of laughed out of the room. I think it's a reasonable argument to say to someone, I think Ghostface Killah is the greatest rapper of all time. I think that is a reasonable conversation to have.
I gotta agree with you, right? I think that, to be honest, and I'm not saying, I think multiple Wu-Tang members.
I was gonna say, because then as I say that, you could say make the case about Raekwon as well, and Jizza, right?
I think multiple members in the Wu, if you take the lyrics, look, hip hop is hip hop, and everybody's gonna have their favorite. Sometimes the favoritism is there. Sometimes the taster's choice is there, right? But at the end of the day, if you think about inspiration, right, of even some of your greatest, the people who they say are the greatest, have been inspired by Wu. But they didn't inspire Wu. Okay? I'm gonna be straight up. They didn't, they
Ooh, that's deep.
yeah. And
That's
even,
deep.
I could say, I'll go there and say about the producers as well. They didn't inspire me, I inspired them.
Right.
They went back and started like, yo, try this, yo, that. You know what I mean? So, but arguably, yeah, you could definitely say that, because if you take the content of the lyric, right, and you remove it and you put it on a piece of paper, you hand it to college kids to read and study, then you will say, holy crap, these dudes were saying a lot, right? Maybe they didn't flow it. Maybe it went past your ear. Maybe you didn't even catch the pre-existence of the mathematical biochemical equation is a manifestation of rock, plant, air, fire, and water, which are in the basic formation of solid, liquid, and gases that form the land masses and the space catalyst and all this matter that exists in the dense third dimension. Right? Maybe you didn't catch all that.
No, maybe not.
You know what I mean?
Maybe I didn't catch it right now.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm trying.
But as you go back and you study that, you're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this is metaphysics, this is science, this is something that actually, if I study that, what makes skin, hair, epidermis, and fingernails regenerate, but everything else in your body disintegrate. So we wear Teflon vests so bullets can't penetrate. Like, so what is that? Right? It ain't fly. Right? I would say that. It ain't fly now, you know what I mean? It ain't,
But you got that too. But by the way, there's
exactly,
fly.
Yeah.
exactly. Then
Put on Cam A.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We could get there's fly too.
And then what Ghost does for us is, Ghost puts you right there. Like, call the ambulance. Jamie been shot. He puts you there in your mind and in your emotion. That's what I would say is special about him.
He almost takes that. You said earlier, the line that Ray says that Dirty was the soul of Wu-Tang. In a lot of ways, Ghost was the ultimate combo of soul of Wu-Tang and skill of Wu-Tang, all mixed together.
Right.
What I always say about Ghost is, and I love every member of Wu, personally and professionally, but Ghost, I have this awe of him because he is the genuine article.
Right.
Like, you could have 50 MCs in a room, and some of them will be the real deal, and some of them will be people who rap for a living.
Right.
There's not one person alive who can stand next to Ghost and feel that they are more the genuine article with this rap thing than Ghost is.
Right.
In every way.
No, I
Not
understand
even
that.
just how he raps, how he moves,
The whole
everything.
He's a walking body of it.
He's the genuine article.
That's
It
beautiful,
gets no realer than that. And so I'm just always in awe. And by the way, and again, not to take away from all of you guys, but yeah, I just always wonder. And Ghost's longevity has been incredible.
Oh,
his voice quality to this day is in.
Yeah, his discography, as they call
Bro,
it, right?
did you see him at Hip Hop 50?
Yeah.
His performance at Hip Hop 50?
His chi was so up, yo.
Yo, wasn't it? Was it like...
His chi was up, bro. Listen, Ghost is a diamond. All right, he's a diamond. And a diamond remains a diamond.
No matter what.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yo, I've seen you guys perform a million times. And that day at Hip Hop 50, and I don't know what the politics were about who was able to get paid to do what. So Ghost ended up being the one who got a set and brought meth with, and everyone did their thing. There are different celebrations at different times. Ghost had on that day, Ghost had the Wu thing on his back.
Exactly.
And when he came out, and I've given him props many times. Props to Scram Jones. They put together a set,
crazy
man.
Set, yeah.
It was a work of art, man.
We actually incorporated 5 minutes of that set into the New York State of Mind tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he did it was such a moment and such a. See, now one thing about Ghost that we you think about 36 Chambers. During the period of that album, the people who spend the most time together is me, Ghost, and O Dirty. Right, we live together. We're traveling back and forth to Ohio together. So this is really the core. RZA is like you hopefully get RZA. RZA is the head. So he's my enlightener. So every time I'm around RZA, I'm bringing the tea to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like.
And by the way, in terms of family breakdown, RZA cousin,
RZA,
Dirty cousin,
yeah. And RZA's the oldest of us.
RZA cousin, Dirty cousin, and then Ghostface brother-in-law.
Yeah.
So and father to your nieces and nephews.
Yes.
So everyone at this point has also become family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you think about the three, right? Ghost's contribution to Wu is also a lot of the strength, right? What I mean by the strength is like, as you say, genuine article. Yeah, it will bust your ass, all right? At the same time, though, he'll pick you up and then give you a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? But you know that is real. When we did the video for Cream, it was one of the funniest things that I said ever. It's cool and funny. So we doing the video, right? And one of the neighborhood homies, you know, he lost it. So he still had little muscles on that, but he was a little zoned out on smoking. You know what I mean? And he comes in the trailer, you know, and you know we shooting whatever. I guess he comes in the trailer, and he steals something, and he goes right. But Ghost is in the trailer, right? But Ghost is asleep. But he thinks Ghost is asleep, right? So I come in maybe 2 minutes later, and Ghost like, hey yo, yeah. Homie just stole something. Right? He said, I saw him like this. I was peeking at him with one eye. I was going to see if he's going to really do it. He said, he did it. I said, what? He said, yeah, watch this. Watch this. And he opens it. He calls him back. And the dude's like, nah, I got to go. Nah, let's come here for 1 second. Nah, I got to go.
I literally hear Ghostface.
Just, I got something for you. Come here. And he coerces him to come back. Right? And whips his ass.
Oh my God.
Shows him, I saw you, took it off him, whips his ass. It was cold that day. It was recorded as one of the coldest days. The camera froze.
During the Cream video shoot.
Yeah, but that dude came up out of his shirt. He still had some muscles, but they was like, but Ghost like, yo, Ghost said, I gave you the mercy, and you still stole it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have to do that. You thought I was asleep. You know what I mean? And you one of the homies from the hood. Like, you know us.
So what happens after that? Does he remain a homie after that, or?
Like I said, you get then you Band-Aid him up, put his coat back on. You know, yeah, he's still a homie.
But he had to learn the lesson that day.
Yeah, he's still a homie. Now you demoted down.
Right, you're gonna have to work your way back
go
up.
back out. Now you're sweeping the temple floor now. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yo, Enter the Wu-Tang, 30 years old. That means, by the way, in case you're wondering, when you made Wu-Tang, if y'all were to talk about an album of that same age at that time, it would have been an album that came out in 1963.
Wow.
It's so crazy when you put it that way. It's
That's
so
wild. So that's like,
wild.
what is that? The Beatles?
Like the Beatles, honestly, yeah, like middle of Beatles' career,
Right.
you know?
That is crazy.
Beach Boys.
Right.
Stevie was a kid.
Right. That's crazy.
Jackson 5 were forming, you know, kind of coming together.
Crazy.
That's crazy to put it that way.
Yeah.
30 years, man.
It's
And
also crazy to say Beach Boys. When I watched that movie,
the Brian Wilson movie?
yeah, I'm not, you know, I don't got no doctor, medicine, none of that stuff like that. I'm 200% sane, okay?
Huh?
But the way he was creating, I realized, like, wait, I get it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's how my brain works. You know what I mean? As a producer, you know what I mean? So it's interesting that you go back 30 years earlier, here's another guy.
By the way,
who-
it's an interesting connection. The Brian Wilson, RZA, there is definitely a through line there.
Seriously.
Because what he was hearing on Pet Sounds and what he was doing was on some RZA Enter the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
This has never been done. Y'all got to trust me.
Yeah,
I just know what I'm doing.
I didn't know that, but when I watched the movie, I was like, "This, I get this guy. Like this guy, I'm very."
Have you ever listened to that album with headphones on?
Not with headphones, no.
You should giving Pet Sounds a listen with the headphones on to
Okay.
hear what he was doing is. It reminds me. It reminds me of you.
Respect.
Like you're just hearing things in different ways that.
Oh, it's a beautiful album.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful.
it's
beautiful
honestly, it's so funny because music is such a beautiful thing. Those albums are that's in the same conversation to me.
Right.
I mean, if you're talking about Pet Sounds and you're talking about Enter the Wu-Tang, I really do think you're talking about the greatest albums ever made. Like these are in the conversation of greatest albums ever made.
But that's a blessing. You know, that's a blessing.
Do you
know?
feel it that way though? I know you're very modest, but like you also know the greatness of the Wu. Do you believe that Enter the Wu-Tang should be in that conversation of the greatest of all time?
I mean, putting my ego aside, I'm gonna say yes once again because of as we started our conversation off talking about this year of November 9th in 1993 in that day, and we said, I was saying it's a pillar. It's a lamppost. It's like, it's things that were before it, and then it's things after it, but it's a marker. It's like, wait, this is a shift. So because that is a shift, and because it spawned so much...
took hip-hop around the world in different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think hip-hop is what it is in other continents without Enter the Wu-Tang.
Yeah, so I Rolling Stone, who we love Rolling Stone. The Rolling Stone magazine been around for,
They have their hits, they have their misses, but we all respect the brand.
Yeah, respect the brand. When they labeled their top 500 albums, and 36 was in that, right? That felt good. It felt like I agreed, right? And then, they did it years ago, but then they did it again, right, within the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 36 may have been like in the 90s. Now it's up in the, up in the top 30 or something like that.
But it makes sense because when you think about the constant evolution of hip-hop's importance.
Right.
And the people who were kind of ranking these and how it affected
Right.
them,
That's
you know
a
what
good
I mean? Emotionally, socially at the time.
It makes sense that it would go up.
Yeah.
But then the craziest part of the whole thing is we could have this whole conversation, and then if you were to ask me to say, choose between Enter the Wu-Tang and the same album that came that day, Midnight Maruders, I'd be like, I don't know what I'd do. Because they dropped a totally different sounding...
tough one.
And also incredibly pivotal and important growth-wise for hip-hop, too.
The Electric Relaxation song, right? Sheesh. It's the first time that hip-hop was brave enough to do a 12/8 count.
Go ahead, explain that for the music layman's out here.
Well, normally it's 1 bar or 2 bars, right? 2 bars or 4 bars. It's not 3 bars. It's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Like it goes dun, 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 on the 3. Mm-hmm. And it's looping like that. Hip hop hasn't done that yet. Watch when it drops.
Once the actual sample comes in. Instead of the 4th bar.
Hip hop it never did that before.
At this point in your life, were you already cool with Tribe? Did you know them?
Oh yeah, we knew each other since high school.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You've known them since high school?
Yeah. Q-Tip and Old Dirty Bastard battled in high school.
Nah, man. Really?
Yeah. I'll leave that story for Tip, but since high school. I know. That's the beautiful thing about our generation of hip hop too. Is if you think about it, you look at Bus, like me and Bus used to be sneaking in the clubs together, we meet each other at the spot, whatever. Having knowledge of self, right? So peace to the God, right? And just nobody got a record deal yet.
Yeah,
it's wild that y'all have these connections going back that far.
I know. And y'all knew that your projects were dropping at the same time?
No, we didn't know that though.
Okay.
I mean, Tribe was already gone.
Yeah, they were out of here. This is album 3 for them.
Yeah. There was once they dropped the Low End Theory.
Yeah.
And because they're post scenario at this point. Tribe's situation's totally different. So y'all, it's funny, they're the same day, but you guys are trying to prove that this thing can work.
Right.
And you and Jizza specifically being like, we got it right this time, we know what we're doing. And then these other guys being like, let's see if this works. Tribe is coming off of, we just had our biggest success. Scenario was just it was the last single off the album, Blue.
Yep.
And I remember when they premiered Award Tour, whereas your first single off that album was this Creeper from the Indies,
right.
Award Tour was radio stations being like, new Tribe.
Right.
Like it was a big, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Even when you listen to Award Tour, it's a big sounding record.
Yeah.
Put De La on the hook. Like, it's a bigger thing.
It's big, yeah.
But like it's such an amazingly important day. And both of you guys reached a lot more people than we'd seen reached before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I sort of
both albums are platinum.
And like, but there was there was an accessibility to both. Here's the thing about Midnight Maruders and Enter the Wu-Tang. As a white kid from the suburbs who fell in love with hip hop enough to make my whole life of it, sometimes I get embarrassed to say that Midnight Maruders might be my favorite album because it almost feels cliched in the sense that like every white kid that I knew who wasn't in it as hard as I was, it was also their favorite album. But it was same with Wu-Tang.
Right.
Those were the two albums that I started seeing other kids who I'd never heard talk about hip hop start to talk about hip hop. And to your guys' credit, it also worked with the crowd that was already into hip hop.
Right.
It was totally like the black crowd loved both albums, but the white kids who hadn't experienced it yet, it was accessible in some way that they hadn't experienced. So you guys both, Tribe and Wu-Tang, brought a lot of money and eyeballs to hip hop.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. It's like a tribe and a clan. You know what I mean?
Yo, crazy, right?
That's the clan. Man, I hope you know you're so loved. I mean, look, Rihanna named her son after you.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's a blessing. It's an honor.
That's so fire.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's an honor. Yeah.
And Rocky. Sorry.
Yeah, wait, by the way, you can't forget about the lineage there.
Yeah.
Rocky's named after Rakim.
I know,
Yeah.
And now his child's named after RZA.
It's a blessing, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Remember when I first met him? He, once again, another, we get these, people in our culture that see the vision, see a path, and live it. And when I first met Rocky, he said, I'm gonna be. You know what I mean? Like he knew, he may have said, I'm the new you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all praises due. You know what I mean? And he saw that he was going to be successful. He was going to rock the world and spread his talent and his culture and his crew on the map. He saw it. And the same thing with
Tyler.
Tyler, yeah.
I knew you were going to say.
No, seriously. I think about them. I was laughing because I was like, they was loving too much bacon. I was like, y'all got to stop eating pork. Because I try to clean up the black man mind and body. We got to at least stop eating swine. And that's but not same thing. That these young dudes, him, Earl, and them, they saw what they was going to do with the confidence.
And believed in each other.
Yeah. And and you know what they did? That was kind of funny that I thought about us. And you do this when you're young. They actually laugh at everything else. You laugh at. I seen KRS-One laughing at Melly Mel before. You know what I mean? When he was the man, we at the Latin Quarters. He was like, man,
because he knew it was KRS knew it was him.
It's his time now. Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah, this is
when
like
you feel it,
all this other stuff's
it's
cute.
It's not a disrespectful laugh. It's more like it's like Dave Chappelle knowing when he's about to like, man, y'all like that? Watch this, yo.
And,
you know what I mean?
and Tyler is such an apt comp. It may be the most apt comparison you could make, right? Because Tyler's the clear, decided leader. He was like, I have this thing, trust me. He was the producer and MC.
Yep.
And then because of the blueprints that you guys have presented before them, Rocky, Tyler, all these guys, they've gotten to become so successful. You know what I mean? Like
super successful.
The place that Tyler's at right now, the money he's getting for shows, the arena tours,
he got his own festival.
He's got a festival.
He got his own festival, yo.
It's
my son is asking for tickets right now.
I get it. We are so honored that we got to share this day with you, bro.
Thank you,
yo. It's been a pleasure, and Bong Bong thank you for all the years of especially you, bro, of just supporting Wu and keeping that argument going. You know what I mean?
Listen, I was not going to be the nerd that I was, get to a platform and start forgetting the people who, like, it's the same with Dave Chappelle, right?
Right.
Chappelle says Wu-Tang literally all the time. Syfe told me Chappelle hangs up the phone by saying Wu-Tang. That's his goodbye.
Right.
They're like, Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? Certain people of that generation were never letting go because we know what you guys meant to this whole thing. So we're super grateful you were here, man.
Bong Bong, thank you.
RZA.